let's dive into our last and final previews of the preseason. So we've already covered all of the other divisions. We covered NFC and AFC South, East, and North, and all we have left is the NFC and AFC West. So we can't go any further without wrapping this up, and we're going to do that for you here tonight. First off, we are talking NFC West Preview. So we are talking about the Rams, the Cardinals, the Niners, and the Seahawks. Now let's dive into the numbers here based off of Vegas and see where things are currently at based off of FanDuel Sportsbook. So San Francisco's favored to win this division at -165. Seattle +200, which I think you're getting some good value with Seattle. Don't sleep on Seattle in this one. Then the Rams, you have +1,000. Still coming off all of those. They don't have picks anymore, Scotty. F them picks.
They don't believe in the Rams.
No, they don't believe in the Rams. Even though, do I think you could buy a little bit low on the stock? I've said this all through the preseason. Do I have expectations that they're going to do anything crazy? No, but some of their players from a fantasy perspective, and maybe, I don't know, maybe some prop bets, maybe the Rams can hit. I feel like they're going to have a decent season, more than what people think. And then you have the Cardinals at +2,700. Last place. They're projected to have the least amount of points scored. They're projected to have the most losses of any team, and they're projected to be the most likely top end of the draft, i.e. top of the draft, come next year. So San Francisco, Seattle, Los Angeles, and Arizona. Let's talk about the win totals, over under win totals on these teams. So Arizona win total 4.5 games for the Cardinals.
That's a small number.
That's a small number. There you go. Should they be in Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh loves small things. Small number.
They do always take our players.
The -120 is the under on this one, which is favored to hit. Over is -102. So there you go.
Give me the Chris.
You want? I feel like I don't know. I don't trust this team. I'm gonna stay away. I'm going to stay away from it. Then you got let's go to the Los Angeles Rams. Over under set at 6.5. Under -6.5. Or under 6.5 is -134. So that's favored to win in Vegas if you were betting on that. Then you go into the San Francisco 49ers. 10.5. They're the cream of the crop of the NFC in recent years. So -162 over for the San Francisco 49ers. So that's a lot of people pretty excited that they're going to hit at least 11 wins. And then Seattle, over under set at 8.5. Over is -142, which I honestly lean towards the over in that one because I just think the Seattle Seahawks are probably one of the sneakier teams in the NFC. So especially in this NFC West, I could potentially see this team winning this division outright as a long shot here. So given the circumstances, the San Francisco 49ers are as favored as they are across the board. So Scotty, anything stand out to you before we dive into these teams when it comes to these numbers?
Medic already hates this conversation as well. He's like, I hate these discussions. Such a waste of time. Clearly, the 49ers will win it. Chris, and we did not discuss this before.
No.
But I'm on the same page as you. Don't sleep on Seattle. I think Seattle has a very legitimate shot to win this division. Let's keep in mind that the Niners are starting Brock Purdy. And I know Brock played pretty decent for a few games last year. Brock Purdy is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. I promise you. I promise you that. Like, I know they have a ton of talent on the defensive side. You got a great O-line. You got weapons all over the place with McCaffrey and Debo and Ayuk and Kittle and a great offensive line. So there's everything set up for Purdy to be good, but like Purdy isn't good. So, like, are we sure? I know the Niners went 13-4 last year. The year before, they went 10-7. They were okay. The year before that, 6-10. Like, they've had 3 winning years in their last, like, 10. So to pretend this is just a dominant franchise that, and I know once they make the playoffs, they've done really well. Obviously, made 2 Super Bowls, or no, 1 Super Bowl. She could have made a Super Bowl last year if they had a quarterback to play in. But, like, I don't trust Brock Purdy. I don't think Brock Purdy's good. I don't. So, like, guaranteeing a division to a team that doesn't have a good quarterback, I'm not there yet. I think Seattle, Geno, you have a good, I mean, the weapons he's going to have at his disposal, maybe the best wide receiver core in the league with DK and Lockett. And then you take Jackson Smith and Jigba in the first round, who's looked good, looked the part thus far in the preseason, had a long catch last night. A ton of weapons. That offense, and not to mention they had like Charbonnet at running back, who's looked good. Like, that offense is going to click. If that defense can be league average, I think Seattle. I actually looked real quick looking at this preview. I'm like, I hope Seattle and San Fran play the last week of the year, because I think that'll decide the division. Unfortunately, they don't. They don't play each other. You always play a division opponent in the last week, but they don't play each other, unfortunately. Don't sleep on Seattle. I think Seattle is going to be right there at the end of this year, because I think the offense for Seattle is going to be far better than San Fran. San Fran's, dare I say, there is going to be a lot of points this year where the fans are going to be like, man, I wish we had Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah. And I believe that to be true. And these other 2 teams, I mean, the Cardinals are going to suck. We don't need to spend a lot of time on the Cardinals. Like, Cardinals are going to be bad. We'll see if and when Kyler Murray comes back. I think Kyler Murray might want to rush himself back for the reason of, like, if we get the number 1 overall pick, I'm replaced. So maybe he'll try and rush himself back. But either way, that team's bad. LA is super interesting. Obviously, 2 years now. I mean, they won 2 years ago. They won the Super Bowl. The roster's old, aged, different. We don't know if Stafford's going to hold up with the back injury and stuff like that. You talked about props with LA, Chris, and there's a prop I like. I like the idea of betting, because everything goes right, and if Stafford stays healthy, you can get like 13-1 odds on Cooper Kupp leading the league in receiving yards. And let's keep in mind, like, 2 years ago, he had a historical season. I think it was the second most yards. I think it was the second most yards receiving in a season ever for anybody. And last year he was hurt, but if him and Stafford both stay healthy, I mean, when he was healthy last year, he still led the NFL in fantasy points per game when he played. He beat out everyone's favorite Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, beat them all out. Devontae Adams, didn't matter. Cooper Kupp, if he's healthy, still could be wide receiver 1 and could lead the league. So at 13-1 odds, I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think you can get mesmerized, I think, by San Francisco 49ers on paper, right? On paper is a whole lot different than when you trot them out there and you have injuries and all these different things that take place over the course of a season. I mean, you look top to bottom, Brandon Ayuk, you have George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Chris McCaffrey, all of the Kyle Shanahan, who's one of the best coaches in the NFL, drawing up plays, trying to get everyone involved. Nick Bosa on the defensive side. They have guys. I mean, the San Francisco defense is pretty decent as well, right? So, when top to bottom, everyone it's all about San Francisco. And I think people can overlook some of the deficiencies, i.e. quarterback, where it's like, not long ago, they sold everything to try to get Trey Lance, and he's 3rd on the depth chart. Now, he did have some decent throws yesterday, but that doesn't change the fact that he's still going to be, like, even just fighting for just a backup role, much less anything else. So I think that there's a lot to say about a small sample size of Brock Purdy and whether or not he could do that over the course of a full season if they could keep them healthy from that quarterback position, which is the biggest I think, issue, like we've discussed on this, not just this show, but previous shows, talking about Purdy and that whole quarterback room in San Francisco. I mean, I just think that it's almost too good to be true. I feel like they're going to be good. Don't get us wrong. San Francisco will be in a weak NFC of one of the teams that's there at the end. Like, they're just too talented across the board. But, I mean, yeah, it's hard knowing that there's just something that just is getting me a little more excited about Seattle. And Seattle, like talking about Seattle a little bit, you're talking about a team that had an insane year last year from Geno Smith, given the fact that he didn't have any expectations. This was right after the Russell Wilson trade. And they had zero expectations of even getting to where they got to at that point, right? It's easy to forget the Seahawks were 2 quarters away from beating the 49ers in the playoffs, right? So there's the fact that Geno Smith, you got some solid running game going with the young kids, Kenneth Walker, and then they have Zach Charbonnet, which both are injured here in the preseason, but still strong rushing duo coming out of the backfield. They have all the receivers. I mean, we talk about guys that don't. Remember we talked about boring players that just produce? Tyler Lockett, even though he's not technically boring, but he's kind of a boring guy that no one really, holds to high standards, still produces. Like, they just have guys, Jackson Smith and Jigba. They have all sorts of just big-time talent that, again, they have that home field advantage. They have everything that you would need in a team that could surprise and upset a team like the San Francisco 49ers when it's all said and done, coming down to maybe the last couple games of the season. So, this is going to be fascinating at the top of this division.
Yeah, Medic says, guys, we all know, he said Geno is definitely a fluke. Guys, we all know that Seattle will come in second. What are we talking about? I'm just not so sure. I think, obviously, Pete Carroll knows what he's doing. I'm not saying, Chris, this to hurt your feelings, but Pete Carroll had a quarterback that everyone loved and thought was great for forever, and he was the reason they were great. And then he leaves the team, and he kind of looks, well, not kind of, he looks like dog shit the next year. And Geno Smith, who was highly thought of, kind of looks like dog shit his whole career. He goes to Seattle and has a career year. Some of this has to be Pete Carroll, right? Like,
Pete Carroll's a big piece of it. Yeah.
Pete Carroll is like not champion enough as apparently a quarterback guru. And I know he's mostly a defensive guy, so that makes it kind of ironic. But like, he made Russ cook, and now in that offense, and obviously they won with defense. I get that, but Russ still had some crazy good numbers through the years. And now you have Geno Smith start, and everyone thinks Geno Smith is borderline the worst starter in the league. And all of a sudden he goes and he's like, what did he finish? Like number 6 in fantasy points for quarterbacks last year? And they make the playoffs, which everyone thought they were going to be borderline the worst team in the league last year. I'm not counting out Seattle at all. Now that we know that Seattle, like Geno's going to come in, I think that offense is going to be really, really good.
Well, and they added cornerback Devin Witherspoon, first round in the draft, to pair with Tariq Woolen, who Tariq was battling Sauce Gardner for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Like
a surprise at the rookie spot, but yeah, he was great.
Like, he was fantastic. So, I mean, on the back end of that defense, you're getting some production that I think you're going to continue to see some amazing production from that side. Julian Love joins the safety room after a career year with the Giants. You have a lot of movement on this defense that I think will help out. So to pair that with an offense that I think is pretty dynamic, just watch out for Seattle. Maybe they fall a little short. Maybe they don't win this division. That's fine. But that doesn't mean they're not going to challenge for it by the end when it's all said and done. So when it comes to the over-under win total, I mean, I know we're going to get to win totals here coming up in the coming weeks before the season. Medic, you can't put Seattle last in the division, buddy. You can't do it.
No, especially because Arizona's there. He even said it. Well, you all know they'll come in second.
Oh. Well,
we all know that Seattle will come in second, and now he's putting them last. No, they're not going to be last.
They're not going to be. If you're
the Cardinals.
Medic, if you want to
call a medic, somebody call
medic a medic right now. Medic, if you want to put a bet into our Discord on whether or not the Seattle Seahawks finished last in the division, throw a bet out there. We'll accept it.
they could. Gino could get hurt. And your boy Drew Lock could come in, Chris. And by the way, he had a beautiful throw last night to Jackson Smith and Jigba, and they'd still not finish last in this division. No chance. No chance.
As long as Murray is healthy, they beat Seattle.
He's not. He's not healthy.
He's not. First of all, he's not. Second of all, even if he was healthy, I still.
Yeah, Murray off an ACL tear isn't going to run, and he's 2 feet tall. That's a threat? No, that's not a threat. And he's playing Call of Duty.
All he's throwing to is Hollywood Brown, who has drop issues. No one's protecting him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, how did you guys lose to that team in the preseason?
We're just...
I know it's preseason.
Just preseason.
Like, yeah, it's preseason.
The Chiefs beat him by 28 last night.
Yeah. So no, Medic. I think that's. I mean, if you want to talk hot takes, Medic, that's the hottest of hot takes we'll probably get this preseason on anything, saying that Arizona's not going to finish last in this division.
That Seattle is,
or see that Seattle is. Hey,
PB and Pomagy.
Welcome in. Who's your team and where are you from? Like to get to know you a little bit, guys. If you guys are just joining, like PB is, join our contest that we have going, ! Contest in the chat, and go ahead, join in on our super contest, our pick'em, and our survivor. They're free, and you can win some cool prizes from our ActionLab team store. So there you go. Also, our Discord, so you can always chat with us offline, is always going to be somewhere you'll want to be as well. So Discord in the chat. Chicago Bears, big football fan. There you go, Bears.
Thoughts on them?
Yeah, we already had our North preview. Let us know, PB, who is what's your projection for the Bears this year? Welcome. Good to have you in.
I'll say they have a great GM in Chicago.
Let's see.
I do want to up above. I think Doc said he talked about the schedule, the rankings, and like San Francisco has the 5th easiest schedule, and Seattle has the 10th. And not to say that's wrong, but like, and I've fallen for this a lot. Like I look at like team schedule, and I'm like, oh, this should be a win, this should be a loss. The NFL is so unpredictable year to year. A team that might have gone 2-14 last year could, I mean, the next year could easily go 500. Like, or, move. Everything can change in the NFL from year to year. And I think that's what makes partially the NFL great. I think a lot of times in other sports, you as a fan going into a season kind of know at least, like, if your team's shit, like, you know it. And they end up to be that. And that could be the case a lot of times in football, but there are other times in football you get surprised by your team, and all of a sudden they make a run that you didn't see, or like, so like I thought the Chiefs had a gauntlet of a schedule last year. I was like, oh my gosh, outside of like 3 games, I don't know how many are easy games, and one of them that I ranked as an easy game was like Jacksonville, and Jacksonville ended up won that game kind of easily, but like Jacksonville was obviously a very good team last year, won their division. So, and won a playoff game. So you just never know. You never know. So I don't buy a lot into that, like, strength of schedule in the NFL at least. Just because, like, it's hard to say what teams are going to do year to year.
Kyler more worried about the next Warzone update, says Jay now. Okay, then I put Seattle ahead of LA. Okay, so...
And Arizona,
right? So you have them above both. That take is hotter than a nooner in Phoenix. That's right, Cuban. Let's see. Yeah, be careful with those strength of schedule situations. I think Chicago Bears will grab 6 wins. Curious on what you had the Bears at.
I think that's pretty fair. I think there's a lot of hype with the Bears and Justin Fields. And I love there's highlight reels. There's so much potential with Fields. He just has to get more consistent with reads and with accuracy on a down-to-down basis. But the potential is all there. Like, Fields can be... Listen, a year ago, we were saying Jalen Hurts needs to kind of work on a lot of those things, right? And all of a sudden, now people rank him second. I mean, the NFL Top 100 ranked him as the second best quarterback in the league. I don't think he's the second best, but he's top 5 for sure. So Justin Fields has that potential. And I know he's played behind an offensive line that's been dog shit. It should be a little better this year. And you have a little more weapons, but he still needs to, like, he misses throws and reads too often still. Negating all the offensive line stuff and the, lack of talent around him, but he's a weapon. So I'm excited to see what Chicago does. I think people will have hyped him. So I think 6 wins as a fan that's very reasonable. That's a good take.
Yeah, I think,
like that.
I mean, I honestly think they might be able to get to 7 wins. I mean, the over-under currently is set at 7.5, and the over is still favored in Vegas at over 7.5. So even Vegas is saying they're going to get to 8. Do I think they get there?
That's fans thinking. I would bet the under on 7.5, but they could win 7 for sure.
I think they're hovering around 7.
I mean, they could go over 7 too, but like to jump from, I mean, they had the worst record in the league last year, so let's let them gradually get better.
Yeah, ease into it. Ease into the progressions of being a good team, right? Which is fair. That's how you should be going, as opposed to the Rams, they just sell all their picks. They forget the progressions. They get rid of all their picks. They go all in, and they try to win, and say F them picks, and they sell their soul for 1 Super Bowl, which it worked. It worked.
I think most fans would say that's worth it.
I mean, it's not a bad way to go about it. Now you're dealing with it on the back end a little bit, but Rams 2021 champions, but nobody would have known that the way they played last year, right? Like you had injuries across the board. I think the biggest thing was the injury to Stafford and the elbow. We actually heard about that and talked about it leading into last season, and it was an issue, right? We all were like, last year I drafted Matt Stafford middle round of my draft and drafted another quarterback knowing that was probably going to be an issue and I needed a backup situation, which ended up being exactly what happened. So I think that Stafford got sacked 29 times in 9 games.
I think it's more of a back spinal.
Yeah, I think it was
issue
a little bit of a couple different things. Yeah,
which is terrifying. Like
the
moment you put in the word spinal, I'm like,
it's kind of dicey a little bit there. You also had Cooper Kupp.
Career could stop at any point.
Yeah. Cooper Kupp, after a crazy record-breaking season, got hurt. He's getting hurt a little bit. He's a little banged up going into this season, but I mean, he was only limited to 10 games due to high ankle sprain. I mean, the Rams are coming into this season with more rookies on that roster than randos and just guys that you've never heard of than any other team probably. So, they're not exactly going to be overachieving. Still got Aaron Donald on the back end, but he just recorded 5 sacks and 11 QB hits in 11 games. So, with all of the downside of the offense and everything else happening, it wasn't exactly a great season. They're still well coached, though. McVay can get a lot out of a little in a lot of circumstances. So that's where I think a lot of people might be underrating the Rams a little bit. But their win total, like I mentioned, is, I believe, over under, what did I say? I think it was the 6.5.
I was going to say 6.5, and I was like, is that wrong?
6.5. And I want to say over, but that's a lot. That's a big number. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
it's wild how quickly the last 2 NFC Super Bowl champions, which have two of the last 3 years, 2 and 3 years ago, between the Bucs and Rams, you have Super Bowl champs, and now obviously the Bucs lose Brady, but like now those teams are just picked to be cellar dwellers.
Yeah.
That quickly. That's how quick it can happen in the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, again, selling your soul, is it worth it? Probably, but then it just keep in mind if you're a Rams fan or any fan of any team that's kind of just dumping everything, it's a gamble. And
yeah, you could sell your soul and not win a Super Bowl, and then
that's
it's not
even worse. Yeah,
yeah,
100%. So we expect that the Rams will probably be towards the bottom of this division, along with the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals, we know with the Kyler Murray ACL, he's going to be missing time going into this season. And I mean, he's already had issues the last season of studying and whether or not he's going to be a guy that's going to go in and, you know, do what he has to do off the field to win on the field. But they're starting out with what? I think Colt McCoy is still there. They drafted Clayton Tune in the 5th round. They have, you know, some random players in random positions across this offense, and then defense. I think the defense shouldn't be crazy awful, but I mean, it's not going to be anything to write home about. I mean, this team is projected 4.5 wins, and I don't even think they get to 5. This is a bad team.
Their opening day starters, I think most. I want to say casual, but maybe even above casual fans of the NFL couldn't name 3 starters.
Are there starters?
Casually average.
I was just about to say, are there starters? Maybe I say casually average at best.
No, they're not casual about being below average.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just like
we talked about Hollywood Brown and Cole Boy's going to start there, but like on offense, they got our tight end out of Colorado State, Trey McBride, so I can like name him mostly because he's out of Colorado State though. Like on defense, you can name Buda Baker and Isaiah Simmons, who kind of sucks actually. But he was a high profile pick a couple of years back, so that's about it.
Yeah. This is a very top heavy division. In based off of everything we've looked at here, based off of what we're projecting going into this season, it's going to be just a battle of the Seahawks and the Niners. Hey, Ev Dog, what's up, Ev? How are we doing? Welcome in to the Action Lab. My name is Chris. This is Scott. For all of you guys who are joining us, we are covering our final NFC West and AFC West previews. Guys, join us, and we have all of our other videos on our YouTube channel. So if you want to check out what we talked about, all the other divisions, make sure you go in there. ! Socials in the chat. All the links are right there. We also have all of our contests, ! Contest for all of our free pick'em, free super contest, and free Survivor. So go check those out. You can win some sweet prizes. It's all free. Free. All right. So, guys, and Rec, I don't know. I guess we didn't put up a poll whether or not we felt like this was going to be who people have winning this one. I guess
I'm sure the Niners would dominate a poll, and they should.
Do a quick fast poll, Rec. I'm just curious. Right. Between the Niners and the Seahawks. Ev Dog, who's your team and where are you from?
Yeah, casually, is Wolford still kicking with the Rams? No,
he's a Buck.
He's with the Bucks, and he actually had like a neck injury in the preseason.
Ooh.
Then he had to go to the hospital.
All right, Ev Dog.
Started it off with a neck injury, so barely kicking at this point. That wasn't appropriate. I'm sorry.
Bruh.
That wasn't cool.
I'm a Steelers fan.
I think he's okay, but
Ev Dog's a Steelers fan. Had them going 10-7. I have them going 12-5. How they look in the preseason.
Welcome.
Ooh.
We got our mod here, Rec, in the background, who has them going 37-0 this year. Yeah. He's adding games. I don't know where they're getting them from, but they may not. This is on paper the greatest Steelers team to ever exist, according to our mod here.
Vote in the chat. Who wins the NFC West? Niners, Seahawks, Rams. We didn't even put the Cardinals in the mix. So we could arguably almost skip the Rams too. It could be a 2-horse race, but
like you're talking about the Cardinals. I'm almost willing to bet that you can recognize more backups on defense for the Rams than you can starters.
For the Rams?
If you go to the depth chart, you would probably recognize more backups.
Is Bobby Wagner not starting these days?
He's back in Seattle.
Yeah.
Wagner's back in Seattle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, he landed.
Another reason the Seahawks are going to win this division.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Exactly.
Roger.
Yeah, but like they have Aaron Donald and nothing. Like you think this was besides Donald, you would think this was an XFL defense.
Oh God, not another Steelers fan.
Love it.
We have a lot. We have a big representation of AFC North in this chat, for sure. Between all of the
Just 2 teams, really.
Yeah, Steelers and Bengals. Yeah, we have a pretty decent representation. So don't let that intimidate you, F-Dog.
One thing. Can you all agree on one thing? Fuck the Ratbirds.
I mean, we had one Ravens fan pop in once, and then that was it.
I mean,
they never came back.
I'm not going to agree on that. I enjoy Lamar Jackson playoff Lamar. I enjoy Lamar playoff.
Yes, I enjoy playoff Lamar too.
Yeah, we all do.
It's like an easy dub.
Although I enjoy more when there's no Lamar in the playoffs.
What?
It's my quarterback.
Don't worry, my girlfriend a Lions fan. See, there you go. Chairman's a Lions fan. So
Lions might be more legit than the Steelers this
connections
year.
On connections. Guys, by the way, all of you guys, we need to know your favorite teams. If you guys are hovering in the background, lurking around, because every Sunday night for Sunday Night Football, we go live and we are having a fan face-off with you, your favorite team going against someone else's favorite team. Scotty and I will be there, as always, but we're going to have, let's say, Ev-Dog, your boys, your Steelers are playing the whoever. I don't know. Steelers playing the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll have you a heads up with Football Wife or whatever that looks like. We want to get you guys involved. So if you guys are interested in doing that, you got to let us know. And then we also got to get you into our Discord. Rec, can you throw the Discord link out there so that everyone can join in and be a part of that? Jay now, dang, no Saints fans.
Well, that means we just need you, Jay now.
Yeah.
Are you a Saints fan?
Sometimes.
We just need you.
That's right.
Oh, shoot. I was going to say something, and now I forgot. That's pretty standard for me, though.
Let's see. What else do we got? Smart gal, hold on to her. Yeah, see? There you go. Who dat? Yeah, so there you go. Guys, let's look at the poll. Vote. 49ers, 6. Rams, 1, have 1 vote. And then Seahawks, 2 votes. So keep voting. Who wins the NFC West?
Like Geno's probably is fluke. I really think he's a fluke. 1 year wonder.
I don't think so.
I guess we'll find out, but it's like I almost feel like the Niners win by default.
Yeah, that's how a lot of people feel, and that's why I say not so fast, my friend.
We're putting.
I just don't really trust. It's like we're putting trust in a 30-plus-year-old quarterback who had his first good year ever that he's going to repeat it.
And he will. Pete Carroll. Look at what he made Russell into, and now Russ leaves for a year, and he looks like dog shit.
Russell's.
I mean, to be fair, Russ wasn't good his last year in Seattle either.
Well, he was hurt a lot of that year, but
yeah, and even before and after, not so much.
Yeah, well.
Let's see. What is that?
It's only a game.
It's only a game.
Why do you have to be mad?
49ers winning by default, coming from a guy who is the Steelers going 18-0. Bruh.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, I don't trust Geno, but damn it, I love Kenny Pickett. And his 4 touchdown passes and 9 starts last year.
There's a difference between a second-year player and a guy that was drafted.
Yeah, but
10 years ago.
But they're the same age, so.
Keep close. Purdy is the best QB I see on this screen. Keep close. You weren't here earlier when Scott was talking about Purdy.
Purdy's trash. There's a reason Purdy went with the last pick of the draft or whatever he did a year ago. Purdy's not good. I promise you. Purdy was so lucky to not have so many interceptions last season. And granted, he's also very lucky.
He's surrounded by a lot of talent.
He's surrounded by a ton of talent. And then you have Kyle Shanahan, who's a great offensive mind. So, like, they're not going to put Purdy in a lot of bad situations. So maybe with that, like, they'll take advantage. But they need that defense to ball out because that offense, if that offense gets down like 2 touchdowns in a game, they're fucked. They're fucked.
Yeah,
Purdy's not a guy that can play from behind. All right?
Well, and they didn't even expect him to be. They didn't expect him to be in that position at all because of if they didn't have all those injuries, like the fact that he was so far down on the depth chart that they had to go to those bottom of the barrel quarterbacks. I mean, there's a reason why he wasn't the backup to start the season last year, right? But I mean, it's a small sample size. He played well. He's surrounded by good talent, and I think Kyle Shanahan is similar to Sean McVay in the sense that those two coaches in this division know how to get a lot of value out of good, talented players that are set around a quarterback. Like they just find ways to get. I mean, the Rams at one point, Baker had a decent game against my Broncos, and was like, who's Baker Mayfield? Like these coaches know how to get the most, and that's if you put Purdy on any other team, probably. Does he?
He's not playing.
Does he play? Yeah,
no.
I don't know. Or does he have as good of on a lesser roster? Does he have as much success? Jay, now I just have sketchy feelings about the Niners for some reason. I mean, I think they are good. They are good. Don't get us wrong. They're very talented.
But you gotta have consistent QB play, and I don't think they do. I don't. Purdy's going to throw a lot of picks if he plays like he did last year. He was so lucky to not have more interceptions.
Oh, real quick, sorry. You said like he can't play from behind. I don't know. How could you? I'm just wondering how you'd say that when he hasn't really had a chance to. His one chance to, he broke his elbow.
Because I watched him play quarterback. He's not a talented quarterback. He's potentially he's a bottom 5 talent at the starting position in the quarterback in the league. He's not good enough to play from behind. If they have to throw the ball on offense, they're in trouble. They are predicated on running the ball, or when they throw the ball, they're throwing short, trying to rely on the yak with Debo or slants to Brandon Ayuk. There's not a lot of downfield stuff with them. Everything's short to intermediate, but if you get down, like, you can't always play around with that, or they're sitting on that. So I don't buy it.
Let's see. I would like to collect my credit for calling the Deuce will be better than Bijan at Scotty.
Wait, Deuce, like Deuce Vaughn? Deuce who?
I think Keep Close was saying that he doesn't believe in Bijan last stream. He's like, no, Bijan's trash.
But who's Deuce being who?
Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce Vaughn.
He confirms it.
I actually like Deuce Vaughn's game, but the dude is like stuck in a 12-year-old body. So, yeah. And I don't know if you guys saw Bijan's first carry of the preseason, and I make that as a joke because it went like viral, but he's really good. Bijan's really good.
Yeah. Evdog, in my opinion, Trevor Lawrence is my pick to win MVP. Trevor Lawrence is getting a lot of hype. He's getting a lot of hype this year. So
I don't hate it. You add, Calvin Ridley, we'll see what that adds. I don't hate that as an underdog. Do I think he'll win it? No, but like at the odds of like 16-1, I don't hate that bet.
No, you're getting value. Purdy is definitely at least better than Dak. LOL. I know Purdy isn't actually good, guys. Yeah. Let's see. I don't think it is a stretch to say Purdy on most teams could lead them to a high school state championship. And football's like Bishop Sycamore?
Not on Bishop.
Not on
Bishop Sycamore. Which
much.
there's going to be an HBO special on that, Chris.
I can't wait for that. By the way, Bishop Sycamore
HBO's doing
is
a doc on Bishop Sycamore.
our community. That Bishop Sycamore lives in infamy in our community. It's great.
And
It's not just in this community;
Chris.
it's everywhere.
Oh, it's so great.
Shocker alert! But the guy who headed that up just recently filed for bankruptcy.
Oh,
I for
shocker.
one,
Tends to be shot. Here's my question: why isn't he in jail? He literally had an arrest warrant while the game was being played.
I mean,
Oh, speaking of
America doesn't like to put people in jail